Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Let's take a look at ransomware, the WannaCry, because that does make me want to cry. But let's take a look at the WannaCry virus, the ransomware that was shutting down people's computers. And of course, I think this is interesting as we move into this. They're now going to do a movie about John McAfee and his episode trying to escape the Belizean government going through Central America. And they're going to get Johnny Depp to play John McAfee. They say it's going to be a dark comedy. They're going to call it King of the Jungle. I think they ought to call it Cyber Pirates of the Caribbean. But it was John McAfee who warned us about the fact that the government, if they were given the keys to iPhones or anything like that, they would not protect it. It would go out in the wild. And this was before we saw this information being released about the hacking tools that they were keeping together. And again, it looks like they're setting this up to blame WikiLeaks. We need to remember what WikiLeaks' role in this was. WikiLeaks acted as a whistleblower. They said, these are out there, they've been stolen, they've been already put on the web. We're going to show you the manuals to show you, the public, how you're being spied on. And we will work with any of the companies that are involved with this. And some of them did contact WikiLeaks. Some of them, like Cisco, did. A lot of companies were not very interested in fixing these vulnerabilities. Now they're starting to try to cover their butt. And so we see Microsoft calling out the NSA, said, you're the problem for stockpiling vulnerabilities. Yes, they are the problem for doing that. But it goes beyond that. And some blame is to be put on the people who did not update their software as well. Some of these things were fixed, some others were not fixed. Microsoft says governments should report software vulnerabilities instead of collecting them. Yeah, obviously. This was pointed out by WikiLeaks, saying that they were dragging their feet at the time, said that Google and other people who had a lot of government contracts were dragging their feet. But Microsoft says this is an emerging pattern. We have seen vulnerabilities stored by the CIA show up on WikiLeaks. See, that's where they're trying to throw this at WikiLeaks. And now this vulnerability stolen from the NSA has affected customers around the world. You have to understand that WikiLeaks' role in this was that of a white hat hacker. They didn't do the hacking, but they told these companies, look, these are discovered vulnerabilities, you need to fix them. If they don't fix them, if the users don't fix them, it's not WikiLeaks' fault. They're the ones trying to tell people what to do. Microsoft went on to say that this represents a completely unintended but disconcerting link between the two most serious forms of cybersecurity threats in the world, nation-state action and organized criminal action. And these two are not as separate as you might want to believe. When we talk about nation-state action and we talk about organized criminal action, of course, this was a ransomware. It may have come from a nation-state. We don't know. It's too difficult to find out where that is coming from. But I think we need to start looking at these cybersecurity threats along the lines of the concern that we have about nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons. When our government creates these types of weapons, then we understand that these things can get out of control and they can create massive damage. We've been lulled into a kind of complacency by what did not happen with Y2K. But that was 17 years ago. We have a far more dependent infrastructure, dependent on more and more sophisticated computer programs today. And now we have seen this happening. They say that, as Microsoft is saying, this is an equivalent scenario to a conventional weapon that would be the U.S. military having some of its Tomahawk missiles stolen. Yes, it is a weapon, and it will be used like a weapon. And if we look at the damage that was done, we have 29,000 Chinese institutions hit by this cyber attack. They say that about 15% of internet protocol addresses were attacked within China. That it's created chaos in 150 countries. It's paralyzed computers that run Britain's hospital network, Germany's national railway, other companies, other government agencies worldwide. And many of them do not want to confess that they had a problem with this because they don't want to look like they are incompetent. And of course, Putin is out there now saying malware created by intelligence services can backfire on its creators. So again, think about what is going to happen as we go farther and farther into this dependency on the Internet of Things, bring our transportation into the Internet of Things. And I've talked about this multiple times, the fact that high-tech cars can be hacked. And we've seen this demonstrated over and over again. They can be hacked. They can be turned into terrorist vehicles running people down, and they're going to use the actual terrorist attacks that have been carried out by people driving trucks. They're going to use that as an excuse to take you out of the car. Everything is an excuse to take you out of the car, to destroy your freedom of movement. Will the government do a kind of ransomware on your freedoms? Will they tell you that you cannot travel until you pay them this fine that they've assessed to you, or this income tax bill that they have assessed to you? Will they tax and track your every movement? Of course they will. We see today an article that was on the Drudge Report coming out of Australia, the death spiral for cars. By 2030, you probably won't own one. And I would add to this, you probably won't own anything else either. Your home, if they have their way, they will take all of this from you. They want you to be a permanent renter to them. And we've seen this types of things done in cities for so long. We've seen buses tried. We've seen light rail tried. Why are they so dependent on doing this? It's because they want control over your life. And the corporations want the profits. And so they say in this article today, the provision of this service may come virtually free, or it may be provided by corporate sponsorship. Imagine, for instance, paying a token sum for a ride into town after buying a latte for $4.50, or getting a free ride because the local government has decided to make transport easier. It's this kind of Pollyanna marketing, the same kind of stuff that used to tell us that nuclear power was going to be so cheap you wouldn't even meter it. But they are selling us this naive Pollyanna view of the future. This is being sold to us by corporations and by governments. And if we come in and we look at the fact that they're really trying to just turn us into renters, that they're trying to take control of our lives, to watch us, everything that we do, if we point that out, if we point out the dystopian possibilities with this, if we point out their corporate greed, if we point out the undying thirst of government for control, then we are called conspiracy theorists. We're called paranoid. And yet they can sell us this kind of Pollyanna vision of the future in the face of these cyber attacks, and nobody questions it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The reason Infowars Life has 5-star ratings on major third-party sites is because I want products I'm going to use for my family. I take this, my family takes this, and then it funds the operation with the most hardcore, truthful information you're going to find anywhere. So what you find in our news is the same thing you find in our products at InfowarsLife.com.
If I ever forget to take them, I have a noticeable difference. I don't feel good. The nascent iodine is one of the ones that was life-changing for me.
Yeah, I actually have just run out of my super female. I had a few bottles at my house, and I've been taking it again, hitting the gym once again. Very exciting, feeling great, looking good. So, and I know my hair is luxurious once again. So obviously the super female is amazing. I love it.
Nascent iodine is essential. Survival Shield X2. If there's one product that I would say is life-changing that I would suggest, it's Nascent iodine Survival Shield X2. It's got a 5-star rating.
It's a win-win. InfowarsLife.com.